¿Se imaginan vivir la guerra en Ucrania? ¿Se imaginan estar viviendo día a día los bombardeos? El narrar cómo empezó aquello en una ciudad tranquila. Y yo conocí Ucrania, estuvimos en Kiev con el padre Carlos Piña, fuimos a Rusia, viajamos en el Flecha Roja, el tren más famoso de Rusia, fuimos de Moscú a San Petersburgo y de San Petersburgo volamos hacia Kiev y de Kiev salimos después hacia Varsovia en tren. Kiev, preciosa la ciudad, su patrono San Miguel Arcángel, que aquí lo tenemos. Y saben, tristemente, están despedazando Ucrania, están asesinando niños y no hay para cuando pare la guerra. Con oración y ayuno podemos detener una guerra y suspender las leyes de la naturaleza, dijo la Gospa. Ojalá le hagamos caso. Vamos a ver aquí, precisamente se llama el tema, primera parte, primera entrega el día de hoy. Se llama este tema Diario de una guerra en Ucrania. Diario de la guerra en Ucrania, narrado por una monja, por una religiosa. Abran su corazón a lo que van a ver y escuchar. Duele mucho, pero si nos duele a nosotros, más le duele a la Santísima Virgen María, Reina de la Paz, y a su Hijo Jesús, que sigue siendo flagelado y flagelado cada vez. Vamos a ver pues Diario de una guerra. Quitaremos los letreros que están abajo, don Adal, todo, porque ¿verdad? Veremos aquí la traducción que se ha hecho, la hemos escrito por ahí, del Guerra al castellano. Adelante, don Adal, por favor. Abran su corazón, esto es muy triste. Vámonos a Medjugorje, por favor.
Good evening, dear brothers and sisters. We truly thank each of you for your support and prayer. It gave us the courage and understanding that we are not alone. Prayer is our only weapon. Tonight was relatively calm for me. However, I woke up every 2 hours to listen for explosions. I woke up, lay down, pray the rosary and to Saint Joseph, who helps me a lot. At 11 p.m., explosions could be heard from afar outside Kiev, but you don't pay attention to them anymore, unless you hear that they are approaching. Then you need to get up quickly and run down the corridor to a safe place or shelter. Many people spent that night in the shelters of the subway, schools and other adapted premises. My friend in Chernihiv, with 2 children, spent the second day in the basement of the church. These children already know what anxiety is and how it is when you sleep not in your bed but on a blanket under the wall. These explosions remind us that Russia is attacking on the left bank of the Dnieper. My colleague, a journalist, lives in the area. He wrote that it was really scary. And this is a normal order of things. When evening comes, you don't know what awaits you, but just pray. At 8:15 a.m., it was reported that in one of the central districts of the capital, a rocket hit a 24-story residential building. The house from the 17th to the 21st floor was destroyed. 80 people were evacuated, 6 people were injured. In addition, a shell was fired into a warehouse. At least 2 shellings took place near Kiev. The bridge, which is a part of a route of a regional communication, is blown up. In many cities of Ukraine today, a siren sounds and there is a threat of shelling. As of today, the curfew in Kiev will run from 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. It is amazing how dedicated people are to defend their homeland and their families. This war has already changed us. It is a time of rebirth of a conscious nation. May God bless you all and endow you with His peace. 26th of February, a friend of Rita Radio in Kiev. February 27th, the fourth day of the war. That night was extremely long. I slept only 2 hours. The rest of the time I prayed constantly. It is good that many friends and acquaintances are also praying at this time. We have 2 fronts, one military, the other spiritual. Yesterday I listened to the sermon of one of our bishops. He said very aptly that Ukraine is being crucified in front of the whole world. Everyone is responsible for this war and this evil. The blood of children and defenseless civilians is being shed on our streets and shelled homes. Men of all ages, from 17 to 70 years old, are defending their homeland. It is shocking that there is an aggressor who does what he pleases, and the civilized world does not affect him. At about 11 p.m., an air raid was announced in Kiev. Official channels reported intelligence that Russia was preparing a massive airstrike. I'm texting all my friends to pray. Today many people spent the night on their knees with the rosary in their hands, weeping and begging God for mercy. The shelling of the area of the railway station began. The enemy fired on the children's hospital. 1 child died. There are wounded children. It turned out that the hospital was marked, a sign of shelling by enemy forces. For such cooperation in the form of posting special labels for enemy attacks offer from $5 to $10. This is the price of life today. That night the enemy attacked an oil depot near Kiev to cause a man-made disaster. The enemy bombed the radioactive waste disposal site of the Kiev branch. God saved us from another tragedy. The city of Bucha was shelled near Kiev. How many more people will tremble in their homes from this horror? How many more times will we hear about Russian peaceful weapons? You can't go outside in Kiev today. Prohibition by the authorities. Many sabotage groups operate in different parts of Kiev. I will not be able to go to church today for the Holy Mass. I will just watch the broadcast. Our strength is in unity with each other and in unity with God. The sounds of explosions are heard in the morning, but we are used to it. We do not react much. Even the sun breaks through the clouds a little, a sign of hope. Only God knows if we will wait for the evening. A friend of Rita Radio in Kiev. We began the 5th day of the war relatively calmly. I even managed to sleep at night. It is unbelievable when you can sleep peacefully for the first time, even though I woke up once and checked the news about Kiev. In recent days, the night for me is a symbol of evil and darkness, a darkness which seems to have engulfed the whole of Ukraine. However, this morning the sun's rays began to break through the window. For me, it's a sign of hope, resurrection. This morning, when the strict curfew ended, people began to go out for groceries and to the pharmacy. There are queues in the street. However, this war makes people even more united and sensitive to each other. Many are driven by aggression and anger, hatred of Russians. The question arises in my head, where is Christ in this? He loves us, the Ukrainians, as well as the Russians, the Poles and the Americans. I am sure that there are many people in Russia and Belarus who do not want this war and are protesting to stop the war. We are all his children. However, the devil has taken possession of hearts and blinded them. So there is war, destruction and death. Today my task is to pray, be converted, do good as far as I can, and go through this Golgotha with trust in the Lord, who passed through it first. My friend from Chernihiv writes about the terrible shelling of kindergartens and other city buildings in Chernihiv. At night many houses were smashed and they fired at the supermarkets. In the city of Volnovaka, all civilian infrastructure has been destroyed. Those who can run away from the city. Those who do not have a car go on foot with white flags. It seems that this hell will never end. Therefore, we ask for prayer and fasting in order to stop the killing. Christ said that the most powerful weapon against the evil spirit is prayer and fasting. Please help us on the spiritual front. May God bless all those who pray for us and help. May the Immaculate Heart of Mary, to whom Ukraine is dedicated, win. First of March, the 6th day of the war. Peace be with you. Last night came as a surprise. Around 6:30 p.m., a rocket hit the suburb of Kiev. The distance from my house was about 30 to 35 kilometers. At 6 p.m., I started watching the broadcast of the Holy Mass online, because now I can't go to the church.
П'ятий день триває війна. Таке враження, що пройшло 5 років.
The sermon ended and our windows trembled with several explosions. We are alive and it's a miracle. It was an incredible experience to pray further, realizing that a rocket can hit at any moment and in my house as well. The blessing at the end of the Mass was a great strengthening. For me, now is the time of the desert.
Але подивіться, наскільки сильно я відчуваю, можливо, і ви це можете засвідчити з багатьма з вами.
Because I used to go to Holy Mass every day. And now there is only an online broadcast. However, I have a strong feeling that God is near, even if I cannot receive Him in communion. After praying, I went to bed, hoping to see the dawn. I'm lying on the bed. Our windows are closed with blinds and blankets to hold back the broken glass in case of an explosion. The room is completely dark. I have a feeling that I'm lying in a grave. Silence. I can only hear my sick and old mother praying softly, who is having a hard time right now. Christ showed that the tomb is not the end, after which there will be a resurrection. However, this waiting time is very long and difficult, and you will be understood only by those who saw the evil of the Russian or Belarusians aggressors with their own eyes, who lost their son or husband in the war, who became an orphan. But Jesus will also understand. He passed the way of the cross and was crucified. When he hung on the cross, he did not curse, but prayed for those who crucified him. It's really hard, but it's possible. The night was quite calm. I slept a little and prayed. The morning brought a nice gift. It snowed outside the window. Here in Ukraine, we like to repeat that it is the Mother of God who covered the earth with her veil. The Virgin Mary is nearby. Our people love her very much. How many churches have been built in her honor in Kiev? How many beautiful prayers in the Western and Eastern church traditions? After the bishop's sermon, I think more and more about the importance of praying for the salvation of our enemies. It is difficult, but this is the essence of Christianity. Lord, teach us to pray for our enemies. The morning begins with correspondence with friends who are in shelters for days. Thank God everyone is alive. Many people are trying to help everyone in need, as well as those fleeing hotspots. More and more destroyed homes, more and more ruined human lives, more and more tears and tears. But we continue our way to Golgotha. The central square in Kharkiv was shelled today. A shell also fell near our cathedral. Everyone is alive. But how many more missiles have to fall? Thank you to all who pray and serve the good and the truth. This means associating with those who carry their cross. May God be glorified in each of you. May the Immaculate Heart of Mary win.
Про це говорить Марія в 1917 році в Фатимі. Про що вона просить? Щоб Росія навернулась. Моліться за навернення, тобто за спасіння. Тому що навернення – це спасіння. Спасіння, тобто з'єднання з Богом. А кінцевий результат з'єднання – це Царство Небесне. Прагнімо в собі це навернення цих грішників, а для себе життя усіма цінностями, але на першому місці хай буде для нас спасіння душ, і в цьому намірі молімось на цій святій месі.
Second March, the seventh day of the war. At this time, every day lasts like a whole year. Although it seems that you work all day, correspond with friends on Messenger to support them, you find time to eat something. However, I have the impression that these 7 days last as long as 7 years. We have experienced so much, seen so much. The peaceful and cozy city of Chernihiv is suffering from a wild and brutal war. My friend with 2 children have spent 6 days in the basement of a church. Their power is constant prayer and the Holy Eucharist. The 3-year-old asks if they are still firing. Have they finished yet? Is it their tank that is leaving? It is difficult and very painful. At night the enemy attacked the city of Zhytomyr from the air. 10 residential buildings were destroyed. 2 were killed and 12 were injured. We are already used to tragic news, and it turns out that we often focus on it. Or maybe we should start thanking God. For what? Even for the fact that 12 people did not die but live. For going through another night and another day? Lord, it is so hard for us, but we glorify you for everything. Today the whole Catholic Church is in mourning. Ash Wednesday, Lent begins. On this day, priests wear purple ornaments, the color of fasting, sadness, and remorse. At the liturgy, we are reminded that we are ashes and that we will turn to dust. So we see this on our streets, in the hands of rescuers and the military. Golgotha continues, although we are failing from discouragement and despair, because we want it to end sooner. Jesus also fell, but got up and continued carrying the cross. I believe that today's prayer and fasting, which have united the whole world, will touch the heart of the loving God and ask for repentance for many hearts that are blinded by the devil and destroy cities, human lives, and our motherland. Our bishop asked Pope Francis to dedicate Ukraine and Russia to the Immaculate Heart of Mary. How I dream of this happening, that the Immaculate may overcome the wiles of the wicked, and the triumph of her heart may come at last. Dear brothers and sisters, thank you for your prayer. Please continue to pray. You are our wings. Support us to rise again after we fall under the weight of our cross.